Hello, everybody. My name is Ms. Lopez, and I'm very excited to welcome you to AP Biology this school year. In this module, I'm going to go over a little bit about what we cover in this class. I'm going to talk about what are homework expectations, because this is usually something that students want to know at the start of the year. I'm going to talk about what the grading policy is. I'm going to talk about the lab fee. And then last, I'm going to provide some resources for you to use technology to keep in touch with the course. So one of the top questions that students usually ask is, how is this going to be different from what we did in ninth grade biology? So what we cover in this class is a lot of the material similar to what you covered in ninth grade, but some of it we cover in different ways. To start with, Science Practice 1, well, let me back up a little. We break up this course into what are known as science practices. College Board has defined these, and this is how you are going to be assessed on the AP exam at the end of the year. So Science Practice 1, for example, is kind of what the material of what you learned in ninth grade, but it is going to go into a lot deeper of an understanding. A great example is the way that we look at photosynthesis and cellular respiration. It's not enough to know where they take place or the chemical reactions. You need to know the specifics of where each process takes place, the role of enzymes, and how we can use these two processes to show common ancestry. So Science Practice 1 is a lot of review material of what you've learned, a lot of the vocabulary, a lot of the concepts, but we are going to use that and make connections across multiple fields of science. Science Practice 2 is using a visual representation. So not only are you going to have to answer questions based on a drawing or a picture, you yourself may be asked to draw a picture or draw a process. Science Practice 3 is laboratory investigations. This is inquiry, and this is a big part of AP Biology. So it's no longer just standalone concepts, for examples like osmosis. You would design an experiment to show the process of osmosis to confirm something or to test whether or not something is isotonic. So this Science Practice 3 is a big part of what we do and what makes a lot of these questions what we call applied questions. So it's not memorization anymore. You have to take what you know and do something different with it. Science Practice 4 is graphical data and interpretation, a lot of graphs, a lot of data that you're going to have to interpret, and then use your knowledge of Science Practice 1 to help explain the data or to help figure out what's wrong with the data or what's missing from the data. Science Practice 5 is statistics. So what I do is some of my students are taking statistics, some of my students are not there yet. So I just pretend nobody has taken any statistics, and our first lesson for the year is to understand how we use these numbers to help us with interpretation of the results. So this is another big topic, and as I mentioned, this is one that I just pretend you don't have any idea of any statistics at all, and so I'm going to teach you the statistics you need. Science Practice 6 is claim, evidence, and reasoning. This is probably the hardest science practice for students. This is where you're making an argument, you're providing evidence, you're connecting that evidence and providing reasoning. So Science Practice 6 and all the other science practices are what we're going to be doing to help build upon Science Practice 1. So the number one question that students always have has to do with whether or not A, is this class hard? I've heard this class is hard. And B, are you going to give us homework? Am I expected to do homework? So this is an AP course. So yes, there is going to be some homework expectations. Now, understand that the reason we're giving you homework is because there's going to be something we're going to do the next class period that builds upon your understanding of what you were supposed to review. So we call these lesson primers. And so the lesson primer is going to help you remember concepts from ninth grade. So for example, we may do a lab involved with ribosomes. Well, I need you to remember what ribosomes do and where they're found. And so these lesson primers are going to refresh your memory from ninth grade. Or sometimes they even do bring in some new concepts, but it'll be very much at a level 1. So maybe some basic definitions, some basic understanding of the processes, but you're going to need that information because in what we do in class the next day is going to be practicing those other science practices so we can take that information to a higher level. So I have all the homework posted in Schoology in the folder. Now, what you're not going to see is you're not going to see the homework pop up on the side, and I'll show you what that means until the deadline is actually added. So let me explain what that means. So this is an example of what the Schoology page may look like for you. So down here, so at the top of the Schoology page, we'll always have our daily agenda. And the daily agenda will have what we did in class. It'll have what homework you have for that day. It'll have helpful links, helpful information. So if you're ever absent, or if you know you're going to be absent, always be sure to check the agenda. If you come up to me and ask me, hey, I was gone, what I missed, my first question is going to be, did you check the agenda? So please pay extra close attention to that, especially since the homework is already posted for you. So if you know you're going to be out for a soccer game, or if band's going to be gone, your homework is already posted for you. And so you don't have to worry about catching up. You can always work ahead to make sure that you don't fall behind in the class. Now, you'll have access to all the homework, but what I will do every day is add a deadline so that it appears over here on the right-hand side. I had thought about posting all the homework for the entire year, but I figured that would scare some people. So what I've done is I've included the homework in the folder, and then here is where you will see any upcoming dates, any upcoming with the deadlines, homework that are needed for the next class period. Now, one of the things I do want to mention about the homework is don't rush. Now, with the homework, you do have you are assigned the homework one class, and it won't be due until the start of the next class period. So if I have you on A days, first period, then your homework is due the following A day at 9:05, so at the start of class. You have plenty of time, so don't rush your homework. Make sure you read each answer carefully. Sometimes there can be tricky answers in there that are off by 1 or 2 words. You can always start the Edpuzzle, especially since I do try to give you time in class to get started, maybe even to complete the homework, and then you can come back later to finish if you need to. It won't auto-submit. It won't lock you out. It doesn't do any of that. Even if your internet goes out, Edpuzzle will not submit your grade or submit an answer for you. So make sure you don't rush the process. The last thing I'm going to talk about for your homework is keeping your homework for later. Now, there are pages in your notebook. You're going to get a AP Biology notebook that we're going to use all year. And this is the one thing you need to make sure you bring with you to class every day. Textbooks are optional if you would like one, but this notebook you do need to bring in class every day with you. We are going to work on it out of it every day of the year. And so there are pages in there aligned with the homework that you are assigned. So if you want to go back and study later, let's say when our unit tests come up or the cumulative tests come up, it'll be easier if you have all your notes written in the notebook so that you can find them. And as I mentioned earlier, when I post your homework on the agenda, I'll also post the page numbers for you as well. All right, let's talk about grading policy. This course uses total points to determine your grade. Using total points helps students' GPA because every homework assignment will actually boost your overall average, unlike with percentage categories. So I'm going to talk about how to calculate your grade in this class. So let's say that a student got an 85 out of 100 on a test. And they turn in a homework assignment, and let's say the homework assignment was 10 points. The student earned 10 out of 10, which is 100% on the homework. To calculate the student's average, what we do is we add up the total number of points that the student earned. So that's these two right here. And then you divide it by the total number of points that was possible for both assignments. And so that is the student's grade. Now, if we use categories, because the homework category is already at 100%, no extra assignments are going to change this average. However, since we use total points, every homework assignment grade has the ability to boost your overall grade. Let me show you. So our old grade was an 86. And again, if we were using categories, no, even if the student got another 100 on the next homework assignment, because the category is already at 100, that grade doesn't change. But with total points, homework 2, if the student gets 100 on it, would come out to 105 points earned out of 120, which actually boosts this student's grade up to an 88. So every homework assignment has the power to help your grade out. This is why many of the upper sciences prefer to use total points, because this helps out students' GPA, whereas categories would never change. No matter how many homework assignments the student did, the student's grade would never change. But with total points, every homework assignment has the power to boost your grade a little bit. So with the total point scale, this is how it breaks down. The number of points the homework is worth, it's going to be variable depending on how long the homework is, but it's usually going to be anywhere but around 10 points. This can be higher, it can be lower, depending on the homework that's assigned. Labs are going to be worth 50 points. Quizzes are worth 50 points. The FRQ totals are worth 100 points, and tests are worth 100 points as well. I do try to enter in all the grades all the grade categories at the start of each 9 weeks, so you know how many grades there will be in each category. So in this class, we do have a lab fee. It's $15 and pay for the entire year of lab supplies. You can either play online, and I will provide a link to the link for the government window if you would prefer to pay online, or you can pay cash and check. Make sure to give it to your teacher, and your teacher will give you a receipt. I will warn you that this online system that's called Government Window, you can pay not only for the lab fee for AP Bio, you can pay for any fee that the school has. You can pay for art, you can pay for various sports. So if you want, you may just want to wait until you have all of them, or you know all your fees, and then pay at one time. We don't want money to be a factor in stopping a student from taking AP Biology. So if you have any concerns, or if that $15 is in question, please just reach out to your teacher and we will find a way to make it work for you. But don't let this be the reason you don't take AP Biology. So on this last section, I'm going to talk about some resources that are available for you. So number one, you're going to need to be accessing Schoology for this class every day. You're going to be automatically enrolled at the start of the year, and we can move you if you switch periods, but you are going to be using Schoology for this class. I also am going to provide for you a link to YouTube. This is where I have all the videos, all the notes posted. I will link them on our agenda as we go day by day, but if you just want to go and maybe review or look at how many videos there are, what we'll be covering, I'm providing a link for your for my YouTube channel. My website also has many of the same resources as well. I have a Quizlet, which is full of helpful vocabulary words that align with the lesson primers. You need to be familiar with these words. You need to these are going to be I've collected vocab over the years, and some students like studying off of Quizlet. This is a great starting point. But even if you memorized all the Quizlets that are provided, it doesn't guarantee you a 5 on the exam or an A in the class. Remember, we need to take this information to the next level. But for students who like to use Quizlet to review, we provided that for you. And then AP Classroom as well. You're going to need to sign up for AP Classroom, and you're going to get your code at the start of the year to make sure you get placed in the right class period. Thank you so much for taking the time to complete this module. We hope you have a great school year, and please don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. We are absolutely available to help you all. Thanks so much. Bye.